Right then, before we plunge into this, do take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And tell us, where are you tuning in from today and what time is it for you? The year, you see, is 1870. You're standing on the cobbled streets of London, right on the cusp of Christmas Eve. You draw a breath, expecting the usual chill, but something else hits you first. It's a sharp, biting scent, not just the city's familiar coal, smoke and damp earth, but a sudden, overwhelming wave of fresh pine. It clashes, doesn't it? That deep evergreen fighting against the metallic tang of smog that clings to your throat. It's an odd shock, a vibrant green note trying to cut through the city's grey curtain. Your eyes water slightly, not entirely from cold. You pull your threadbare woolen scarf tighter, the scratchy fabric a small comfort. You feel horse-drawn cabs rumbling past, hooves clattering on wet stones, the air thick with their hurried breath. Your fingers, stiff, curl deeper into your coat pockets, searching for warmth. Every exhaled breath hangs in the air, a fleeting ghost. Around you, the street is a theatre of hurried motion. A young boy, no older than your nephew, darts past, a bundle of firewood almost twice his size teetering on his back. You see his strained jaw, the determined glint in his eye. Further on, a woman haggles fiercely over a sprig of holly, her gloved hands gesturing with desperate urgency. Everyone is chasing something, aren't they? A last-minute necessity, a small indulgence. The gas lamps, dim in the early morning, cast a sickly yellow glow on frosty window panes, promising a brief reprieve from the gloom inside. You notice the contrast, the harsh reality of the street, and sudden bursts of festive color. Crimson ribbon, polished brass peeking from shop fronts. It's a jarring mix of struggle and budding festivity. You realize how easily the human spirit adapts, how even the grimmest of environments can find pockets for joy, for hope. It's there in the air, that unexpected scent of pine trying its best to declare Christmas, even amidst the persistent, inescapable taste of the city's breath. That sharp, sudden scent of pine isn't just a fleeting impression anymore. It's a persistent thread weaving itself through the city's grim fabric. You follow it, drawn almost involuntarily, pushing through the bustling, bundled-up forms on the street. With every step, the coal dust, the dampness, the sheer grit of London feels like a dull undercurrent, while the pine scent rises, a bright green counterpoint. It's like the city is trying to scrub itself clean, just for a moment, to make way for something new. You find yourself in a quieter side street near a row of modest houses where the air feels less thick with industrial haze. Here, the pine isn't just a smell from a distance, it's everywhere. You see small, tightly bundled fir trees propped against lamp posts, their branches dark and glossy, still wet with morning dew. Their scent is stronger now, richer, almost sweet. Children, rosy-cheeked and bundled in layers of wool, are gathered around a makeshift stall. A vendor, his breath pluming in the cold, is handing out small sprigs of holly, their scarlet berries startlingly bright against the dark leaves. You watch as a young woman carefully chooses a small branch of fir, lifting it to her face, a faint smile touching her lips as she inhales deeply. She doesn't just smell it, she seems to absorb it. It's a moment of pure, simple connection, a fleeting escape from the relentless city. You notice how her gloved fingers trace the rough needles, a gesture of quiet wonder. It's as if this simple act of bringing nature indoors, of consciously seeking out this fresh aroma, is a small act of defiance against the soot-stained grey all around. Further down, you glimpse a window, and inside, a family is already beginning to deck their tiny parlor. You can't quite see the details, but you catch a flash of deep green, a shimmer of gold, and for a second, the harsh street outside fades. This isn't just about decoration, it's about crafting an atmosphere, isn't it? about actively pulling a different world into your own, one breath at a time. The pine isn't just a smell. It's becoming a memory, a marker for something special, something different. It's a sensory anchor, grounding the promise of something truly magical amidst the ever-present reality of the coal dust. You step into the parlor, and immediately a new sensation washes over you, a sudden, unexpected blast of cold air that seems to cut right through your layers of wool. It's sharp, almost physical, making you involuntarily shiver. Your eyes dart around, trying to locate its source, but the room is already wrapped in a peculiar dimness, save for the solitary candle flickering on the mantelpiece. Its flame dances wildly, a frantic yellow moth battling an invisible force. Shadows, exaggerated and grotesque, leap across the walls, transforming familiar patterns on the wallpaper into distorted, fleeting faces. You rub your arms, the skin prickling, a sensation that's more than just the external cold. A distinct scent of beeswax, old wood, and a faint hint of damp plaster fills your nostrils, clinging to the heavy velvet curtains. You pull your shawl tighter, the rough fabric a small, familiar comfort. Around you, a small circle of figures is huddled close, their faces illuminated in the candle's unreliable glow. Their expressions are a captivating blend of apprehension and sheer fascination. A hushed quiet settles, broken only by the rhythmic, low voice of someone seated by the fireplace spinning a tale. You focus on the struggling flame, mesmerized by its desperate dance. It strains, elongates, almost snuffs itself out with each unseen gust, only to bravely rally, throwing the gathered faces into sharp relief again. You notice the wide, unblinking eyes of the children, their rosy cheeks contrasting with the dramatic shadows that carve new lines into their features. A woman across from you clutches a knitted blanket to her chest, her knuckles white against the dark wool, her gaze fixed on the storyteller, utterly captivated. Everyone leans in, drawn by the invisible thread of the narrative, a tale whispered low of old, crumbling manor houses and restless, lingering spirits. The tale itself isn't spoken directly to you, but its feeling washes over you like a cold wave. The very air in the room seems to thicken, not with smoke, but with unspoken tension, a palpable unease. You feel a distinct prickle on the back of your neck, a sense of something just beyond your perception. Is it the sheer power of the story, or simply the persistent, bone-chilling draft that seems to emanate from the very ancient stones of the house? You glance towards the window, imagining the heavy curtains stirring, even though they remain perfectly still. The bustling, gaslit London outside, with all its clamour and smog, feels a million miles away, replaced by this intimate circle of flickering light and shared, delicious apprehension. Suddenly, a floorboard creaks upstairs, a perfectly ordinary sound in any other circumstance. But here, under the spell of the ghostly narrative, it sends a fresh jolt through your nerves. You see a young man next to you subtly flinch, his hand instinctively reaching for the security of a sibling's arm. This shared vulnerability, this collective suspension of disbelief, creates a strange, paradoxical warmth amongst the cold. It's a peculiar comfort, isn't it? Finding solace in the unease gathered together against the encroaching darkness, both real and imagined. These traditions, these tales by candlelight, they bind people, making the unknown a shared human experience, a quiet testament to connection in the face of winter's long, spectral nights. The cold draft, rather than easing, seems to intensify, coiling around your ankles, making the skin on your face prickle. You find yourself leaning forward almost imperceptibly, drawn further into the flickering sphere of the candle's light. The air, already heavy with the scent of beeswax and old wood, now feels thick with a different kind of presence, the weight of unspoken dread deliberately invoked. You watch the storyteller, their eyes gleaming in the dim, dancing light, as they lower their voice to a near whisper, describing a shadowy figure at the top of a creaking staircase. A collective gasp ripples through the small gathering, a soft, involuntary release of breath. You feel your own heart give a quick, uneven beat. It's a strange, intoxicating blend of terror and fascination. You find your gaze darting towards the darkest corners of the room, half expecting to see some fleeting movement, a trick of the light, a shadow that isn't quite a shadow. A child nestled against their mother buries their face into the woman's shoulder, peeking out through splayed fingers, a mixture of fear and irresistible curiosity warring in their wide eyes. You notice an older gentleman, usually composed, gripping the arms of his chair, his knuckles white. This isn't just a story, it's a shared ritual, a collective descent into the delicious thrill of the unknown. You feel a sudden, sharp cold across your exposed wrist, making you pull your sleeve down instinctively, a shiver running through you that feels both external and deeply internal. It's a peculiar feeling, this deliberate courting of unease. In a world where genuine hardship and death were ever present, why invite this manufactured fear? But then you look around at the faces, some pale with imagined fright, others alight with a sort of wild glee. It's a communal act of bravado, isn't it? To face the dark, the unseen together, safe within the circle of the candle's glow and human companionship. These ghost stories told in the dead of winter aren't just entertainment. They're a way to acknowledge the thin veil between worlds, a nod to the ancient superstitions that still linger, even in this era of gaslight and burgeoning science. You realize that by inviting these spectral tales into your warm parlors, you're not just frightening yourselves. You're also celebrating the triumph of warmth over cold, light over darkness, and life over whatever lurks beyond. It's a way to feel alive, perhaps, by flirting with the edge of what it means to be truly terrified. It's a strange, dark magic woven into the very fabric of Christmas. You feel the rough, slightly gritty texture of the paper beneath your fingertips, a humble, almost coarse sheet, a world away from the vellum of old. Your hand, perhaps a little stiff from the cold, dips the steel nib into the inkwell. It's a sharp, almost metallic tang that reaches your nostrils, a scent that already feels synonymous with communication. Then you guide the pen, and a precise, rhythmic scratch fills the quiet space around you. It's not a grand sound, this gentle scrape of metal on paper, but in this moment it feels immensely significant. Each careful loop and straight line you form, each word that bleeds into the industrial fibers of the paper, feels like a miniature journey across the miles. You concentrate, ensuring the ink flows evenly, avoiding blots on this precious, affordable medium. You think of the recipient, their face forming in your mind as you meticulously craft your festive greeting. This isn't just paper and ink, it's a tangible piece of yourself reaching out. You lift your gaze for a moment, letting your eyes unfocus on the page. Across the room, or perhaps in a glimpse through a window, you might see others bent over similar tasks. A young clerk perhaps swiftly penning dozens of business greetings, or a mother carefully addressing an envelope to a son far away serving in the Navy. The sheer volume of this silent activity, this collective scratching of pens, paints a vivid picture of connection. It's a quiet revolution, isn't it? The penny post making this intimacy, this reaching across distances, suddenly affordable to nearly everyone. The air around you, tinged with the faint, dry scent of paper and the metallic hint of ink, feels thick with unspoken messages, with hopes and affections soon to be carried by train and cart. You press down, finishing a flourish, and hear the soft sigh of the paper as the nib lifts. This simple, almost mundane act of writing, once a luxury, is now a shared experience. It's a powerful thing to think how these modest sheets, bearing such careful words, are forging the very fabric of modern connection, making the distant feel just a little closer, especially at Christmas. You carefully light the taper, a small curl of smoke momentarily obscuring the intricate details of the written page. Then comes the distinct, almost sweet, slightly smoky smell of melting sealing wax as you hold the stick above the folded paper. It's a familiar scent, isn't it? One that speaks of intention, of finality, of something important. You watch the wax bead then soften, dripping a thick, viscous pool of crimson onto the crisp paper below. It looks like a small, vibrant jewel, cooling even as it forms. Your hand steadies as you reach for the heavy brass stamp. The metal is cool against your fingertips, a stark contrast to the molten wax. With a swift, deliberate motion, you press the seal firmly into the cooling liquid. There's a slight, satisfying resistance, a faint whisper of air escaping as the brass makes its impression. You hold it there for a few seconds, feeling the wax harden beneath the weight, solidifying not just the paper but the sentiment it carries. When you lift the stamp, a perfect raised crest remains, a personal flourish, an unspoken signature. It's a tangible mark, a barrier protecting the private thoughts within, yet simultaneously a public declaration of connection. You trace the edges of the hardened wax with your thumb, feeling its smooth, slightly brittle texture. It's an act performed countless times in countless homes across the country, each tiny crimson or dark green disc carrying the weight of a wish, a greeting, a piece of someone's heart. You imagine the postman trudging through the fog and chill, these sealed envelopes tucked securely in his satchel, each one a small, warm ember in the cold vastness of the city. There's a curious power in this simple ritual, isn't there? It elevates the ordinary, transforms a mere letter into something precious, something worth protecting. In a world of increasing speed and industry, this deliberate act of sealing, of leaving a personal mark, feels like a quiet, steadfast anchor, reaffirming the enduring importance of human connection. It's not just sealing a letter, it's cementing a bond, promising that the message within is worth the wait, worth the journey. You step into the room, and the first thing that hits you isn't a gentle warmth, but a roaring, almost blistering wave of heat. It smacks you full in the face, a sudden, scorching embrace that makes your cheeks flush instantly. It's an intense sensation, a stark, immediate counterpoint to the persistent, damp chill that has clung to you from the outside world. Your ears are filled with a symphony of sound. The sharp, eager crackle of dry logs, the deeper, resonant rumble of burning coal, and the occasional, almost violent hiss as a piece of wood gives way to the inferno. It's alive, this fire, a hungry, breathing entity dominating the space. You instinctively hold out your hands, feeling the heat radiate through your gloves, then through your skin, seeping into your very bones. The sheer power of it is captivating. You can practically taste the warmth in the air, a complex mix of wood smoke, old soot, and something else, something richer, hinting at simmering spices or perhaps a hidden roasting joint. It's an earthy, comforting aroma that promises sustenance and refuge. Around the colossal hearth, a collection of faces glows, illuminated by the leaping, dancing flames. Their expressions are softened, relaxed, no longer etched with the day's worries or the city's grimness. You see a grandmother's face, deeply lined, now smoothed by the firelight, her eyes half closed in pure contentment. A young boy lies stretched out on a rug, mesmerized by the shifting patterns of light and shadow on the ceiling, his small hand occasionally reaching out, drawn by the mesmerizing warmth. But even as the heat presses in, you're acutely aware of the icy tendrils of cold that still snake around the edges of the room, near the heavy, drawn curtains. You feel the distinct contrast, the fierce, almost overwhelming heat directly in front of you and the subtle, biting cold on your back, a reminder of the relentless winter outside, pressing against the window panes, seeping through cracks in the old stone. It's a tension, isn't it? This small, incandescent world of warmth battling the vast, indifferent cold. You watch as a gust of wind rattles the chimney, and for a moment the flames seem to surge, a defiant roar against the elements. The shadows on the wall deepen, then shrink, mirroring the wild dance of the fire. You notice the shimmering heat distortion above the mantelpiece, blurring the edges of a festive garland draped there. This hearth isn't merely a source of warmth. It's the beating heart of the home, a powerful magnet that draws everyone into its protective embrace. It's a visceral experience, this push and pull of scorching heat and biting cold, making you feel profoundly present. You realize how essential this raw, untamed power of fire is, not just for physical comfort, but for the soul. It gathers people, tells stories through its dance, and stands as a vibrant, fiery defiance against the pervasive gloom of the long, dark Victorian winter. It's a timeless symbol, a defiant flicker of life and community in the face of the encroaching cold. You feel the lingering heat on your face, but it's not a steady, uniform warmth. A sudden, sharp chill nips at your exposed ankle as the fire seems to recede slightly, a heavy log shifting with a dull thud, its roaring intensity momentarily diminishing to a softer, hungrier crackle. You instinctively lean in, drawn by the persistent need for comfort, even as a faint wisp of smoke, carrying the less pleasant scent of unburnt carbon, tickles your nose. This isn't a modern, effortless warmth. It's a fickle, demanding friend, constantly asking for attention. You watch someone, perhaps an elder or a diligent sibling, reach for the heavy iron poker. The clang of metal against stone, then the rhythmic scrape and dull thud as they prod the glowing embers, stirring the heart of the inferno, coaxing new life from the dying flame. Sparks, like a sudden shower of tiny, angry stars, fly upwards into the dark cavern of the chimney, briefly illuminating the sooty brickwork. The fire responds, flaring brighter, the colors intensifying from dull orange to vivid red and yellow, casting dancing patterns on the ceiling. It's a small, intimate battle against the relentless cold, a constant negotiation. This isn't just a place to warm your hands, it's a living entity, the very pulsing heart of the household. You observe the way families gather around it, the youngest children practically pressed against the ornate fireguard, their faces flushed with heat and simple, unadulterated joy. A mother might mend socks, her needle flashing in the shifting firelight, while a father reads aloud from a worn, leather-bound book, his voice a low, comforting drone above the fire's murmur. Even without direct dialogue, you feel the unspoken communication, the shared glances, the comfortable silences that only truly exist in such close proximity. You notice a young couple, perhaps newlywed, sitting a little closer than the others, their shoulders brushing, their hands occasionally touching. The fire, in its flickering, unreliable dance, casts intimate shadows around them, creating a private world within the larger family circle. This shared vulnerability to the cold outside, this collective effort to sustain the precious warmth within, binds them all. It's a focal point, isn't it? This powerful, demanding flame. It necessitates closeness, collaboration, a shared rhythm of life that dictates when logs must be added, when the embers need stirring. The crackle deepens, almost like a sigh, as another log is carefully added to the glowing pile. The fresh wood hisses, reluctant at first, then catches, blossoming into flame, pushing back the encroaching chill once more. You realize that the Victorian ideal of family, the tightly knit unit gathered together around the hearth, wasn't merely a romantic notion. It was born in part from necessity, from the persistent cold, from the need to share resources, to huddle against the vast indifference of the long, dark night. This fireplace, with its unreliable but undeniable warmth, wasn't just heating a room. It was actively forging connections, building the very concept of a home, a sanctuary, a family. It's a powerful testament to how human beings create meaning and belonging even in the simplest, most elemental acts of survival, transforming a struggle into enduring love and light. You hear it before you truly see it, a whirring, clicking, almost insistent sound, like a tiny, intricate heart struggling against its own metallic confines. It's a persistent, mechanical pulse that cuts through the festive murmur of the parlor, drawing your attention. Your gaze travels across the bustling room, past the flickering firelight and the rustling silks, settling on a small porcelain figure held delicately in a child's arms. As you step closer, the object resolves into a clockwork doll, perhaps a miniature ballerina, frozen in a poised, perpetual dance. A strange prickle begins at the back of your neck, a faint, unsettling tremor that ripples through you. The doll's face is painted with a meticulous, rosy blush, its tiny lips curved into an unnervingly perfect fixed smile. Its eyes, wide and glassy, stare ahead with an unwavering intensity, a shocking, unblinking blue that seems to hold no warmth, no flicker of genuine life. It's too flawless, isn't it? Too smooth, too utterly devoid of the subtle imperfections, the fleeting emotions that make a human face truly expressive. You watch its limbs, made of gleaming, polished porcelain, move with a stiff, almost robotic precision. The small ballerina begins its programmed turn, a series of jerky, almost awkward movements rather than the flowing grace it's meant to embody. There's no fluidity, no natural elegance to its pirouettes. Just a relentless mechanical sequence of stops and starts, each movement punctuated by that dry internal whirring. It's a fascinating spectacle, yet your gut clenches with a peculiar sense of wrongness. A young girl, perhaps no older than 6 or 7, clutches the doll to her chest, her own eyes wide and unblinking as she watches its repetitive, unnatural motions. Her brow is slightly furrowed, a captivating blend of intense fascination and quiet apprehension playing across her features. She extends a tentative finger, her small hand hovering inches from the doll's unfeeling cheek, then pulls back almost imperceptibly, a tiny shiver, more of psychological unease than cold, running through her small frame. She glances up at her mother, then back at the doll, as if silently seeking an explanation for this peculiar, unsettling sensation that the adult too seems to feel. The constant, faint tick-tock of the intricate mechanism is almost lost amidst the festive chatter and the deeper hum of the fire, but once you register it, it becomes an insistent, almost sinister rhythm, a metallic heartbeat. It's a ghost in the machine, isn't it? The unmistakable promise of life, of animated movement, yet utterly devoid of genuine soul or consciousness. You observe how the other children in the room, drawn by the novelty of the toy, nonetheless maintain a subtle, unconscious distance, pulled in by its marvel, yet held back by an unspoken, instinctive understanding that this particular creation isn't quite right. They seem to sense the artifice, the cold, manufactured nature beneath the charming facade. This strange creation, a cutting-edge marvel of Victorian engineering, is designed with painstaking detail to mimic life, to enchant and delight. Yet in its very perfection, its uncanny accuracy, it exposes the vast, unbridgeable chasm between mere mechanism and true sentience. It stands as a profound testament to human ingenuity, yes, but also to a fundamental, deeply ingrained unease with things that are almost human, that sit tantalizingly close to recognition, but ultimately fall short. It's an early glimpse, perhaps, into the chilling discomfort of the uncanny valley, a primal feeling that still resonates, still stirs a quiet disquiet, even centuries later. This toy, meant to bring joy, inadvertently teaches you about the subtle, vital boundaries of what it truly means to be alive, and how deeply we feel the absence of that spark in things that merely pretend. You still feel the cold, smooth porcelain of the doll beneath your fingertips, hear the persistent, intricate whirring of its hidden gears, a tiny, almost frantic heartbeat of clockwork within its flawless shell. The toy in the child's arms, with its unnervingly perfect smile and stiff, predetermined movements, is a marvel of its age. Yet, as you watch its repetitive dance, your mind involuntarily drifts away from the warm, gas-lit parlor, pulling you instead into a starker reality. You begin to peel back the layers of festive joy, searching for the hands that brought this small wonder into being. You imagine not this brightly decorated home, but a cramped, poorly lit workshop, perhaps nestled deep within a grimy industrial district. The air there would not smell of pine and roasted chestnuts, but of machine oil, wood shavings, and the lingering metallic tang of iron filings. Instead of the gentle crackle of a hearth, you'd hear the rhythmic, almost hypnotic tap, tap, tap of small hammers on brass, the insistent whir of gears being tested, the delicate scrape of files refining a tiny cog. The cold from the outside would seep in through thin window panes, chilling the very air you breathe, numbing fingers even as they work with extraordinary precision. You picture a young man barely out of his apprenticeship, hunched over a workbench cluttered with minuscule parts, his brow furrowed in intense concentration. His fingers not soft and rosy like the child's, but calloused and perhaps stained with ink or grease, move with a focused surgical grace. Each minute adjustment, each delicate screw turned, each brushstroke of paint on a doll's unblinking eye is vital. His breath plumes in the cold, dusty air, a small cloud of transient warmth against the persistent chill. He works by the dim, flickering gaslight, straining his eyes to ensure every mechanism is perfect, every detail exact, understanding that any flaw might shatter the illusion of life this toy is meant to create. This clockwork ballerina, with its curious, almost unnatural grace, is a profound testament to human ingenuity. But the effortless magic it creates here in this brightly lit home feels worlds away from the unseen, often arduous labor that birthed it. There's a quiet tension, isn't there? The gleaming, flawless surface of the toy hiding the countless hours of repetitive, eye-straining work, the stiff, aching joints of the maker, the pervasive chill of the workshop. For every moment of a child's wide-eyed wonder, there are hours of meticulous, often monotonous toil. These hands, these unseen creators, are the true silent architects of this modern holiday magic. The simple joy of a child's outstretched hand, the spark of wonder in their gaze as the doll performs its programmed turn, all rests upon the intricate, often forgotten industry of thousands. It makes you pause, doesn't it? To consider the intricate web of effort and ingenuity that weaves together the threads of festive delight, often far from the joyous, brightly lit scenes themselves. The joy we see is built on a foundation of unseen toil, a testament to the anonymous dedication that underpins the very fabric of our cherished celebrations. This toy, so innocently enjoyed, carries with it the unseen echoes of an entire industrial age, bringing delight to one through the exacting, persistent labor of another. You're not easing into this market, you're simply asterisk in asterisk it. The first sensation is the sheer, overwhelming press of bodies, a dense, unyielding wall of wool, damp coats, and hurried movement. It pushes you forward, pulls you back, an insistent, invisible current. A cacophony of sound washes over you, not just individual voices, but a single roaring beast of human activity. The air, thick with the damp chill of London, is suddenly assaulted by a dizzying cocktail of smells. The sweet, sticky scent of gingerbread, the sharp, almost painful citrus tang of oranges, the earthy aroma of muddy boots, the sour hint of stale ale, and an ever-present undercurrent of coal smoke that catches in your throat. Your feet slide precariously on slick, frozen mud and discarded cabbage leaves, a constant, unpleasant squelch beneath your worn soles. You feel yourself carried along by the relentless flow of the crowd, buffeted from all sides. A sharp elbow catches your side, a bundled form brushes past, their urgency a palpable force. You try to fix your gaze to find a landmark, but it's a swirling kaleidoscope of faces. Some etched with worry, others beaming with fleeting festive cheer, most simply set with grim determination. Hawkers' cries pierce the din, sharp and insistent, battling for supremacy over the general clamour. Hot chestnuts. Get your hot chestnuts here, echoes just above a frantic, fresh oranges from sunny climes. The raw energy is almost physical. Your eyes dart across makeshift stalls overflowing with goods. Piles of glistening red apples form small, precarious mountains. Pyramids of small, brightly wrapped sweets, a luxury for many, gleam under the flickering gaslight. You see wooden toys carved with surprising detail, their painted eyes seeming to watch the swirling throng. Ribbons of every hue flutter from awnings, splashes of vibrant color against the pervasive gray of the street. The dim light from the gas lamps and the occasional oil lantern casts long, dancing shadows, making the vibrant colors of the market pop against the urban backdrop. You see hands, gloved and ungloved, reaching, grasping, counting out coins with a practiced flick of the thumb. A child, small and nimble, ducks through a gap in the crowd, clutching a new wooden soldier, its painted uniform a brave splash of red against the grimy street. There's an energy here that feels almost frantic. Not everyone is here purely for joy. You catch a glimpse of a woman, her face drawn and tired, haggling fiercely over the price of a small, bruised turnip, her determination palpable, a silent plea in her eyes for a small concession. Further on, a young man, shivering despite his thick coat, tries to sell flimsy paper decorations, his voice thin and reedy against the market's roar, his gaze a little too hopeful, a little too desperate for a sale. The robust laughter from one stall, where a jovial vendor offers mugs of steaming spiced ale, contrasts sharply with the quiet, almost invisible desperation you see in another, where a family tries to stretch a few pence into a meager Christmas meal. The jostle of bodies isn't always accidental. There's a constant, subtle push and pull, a struggle for space, for attention, for the necessities of survival in this festive maelstrom. It's a profound paradox, this market. A place where the burgeoning joy of Christmas, with its new traditions of giving and feasting, collides head-on with the raw, unrelenting struggle of daily life. It's a vibrant, overwhelming testament to the human spirit's ability to find light, to create celebration, even within the grinding gears of an industrial city. A microcosm of Victorian society itself, perhaps, glittering on the surface, with a constant, desperate hum underneath, a place where commerce and the very real need for connection intertwine. The raw, clamoring market air, already a swirling vortex of cold and clamor, suddenly yields to a new, utterly irresistible sensation. A thick, fragrant plume of steam, heavy with the sweet, spicy scent of cloves, ginger, and bruised orange peel. It cuts through the damp, the coal smoke, the muddied earth, drawing you in like an invisible thread. You trace its source to a bubbling cauldron, tended by a rosy-cheeked vendor whose breath ghosts in the bitter air. The heat radiating from the pot is a palpable force, a magnet in the biting chill. You find yourself reaching for a steaming mug, the ceramic almost too hot to hold, your fingers tingling as they wrap around its substantial warmth. The first sip is a jolt, isn't it? A fiery, sweet burst of hot gin punch, perhaps, or rich mulled cider, chasing away the bitter cold that has settled deep in your bones. It slides down your throat, leaving a trail of unexpected warmth that spreads rapidly through your chest, a welcome invasion of comfort. You feel your shoulders relax, your face flush, a small involuntary sigh escaping your lips. Around you, others perform the same ritual, their faces momentarily serene, eyes closed in pure, unadulterated pleasure before they re-enter the frantic bustle. Then comes another lure. The unmistakable aroma of roasted chestnuts, smoky and sweet, wafting from a brazier further down the lane. The vendor, his face smudged with soot, deftly turns the nuts in the glowing coals. You hold out a gloved hand, accepting a handful, feeling the searing heat through the thin wool. You juggle one, carefully peeling back the charred, brittle skin, releasing another puff of fragrant steam. The soft, floury nut inside is simple, honest, yet incredibly satisfying, grounding you in the heart of the market's chaos. It's a taste that speaks of winter, of ancient traditions, now transformed into a readily available street delight. You see children, their hands clutched around small, warm paper cones of sugared almonds, their expressions a mixture of sticky delight and fierce protectiveness. A small dog, tail wagging, sniffs hopefully at a dropped crust from a pie. These are not grand feasts, are they? These little indulgences, these pockets of instant warmth and flavor, are something more profound. They're accessible joys, democratic pleasures, enjoyed by rich and poor alike in this bustling, freezing landscape. This isn't just about sating hunger, it's about sensory defiance. Each hot sip, each sweet, warm bite is a small, powerful act against the relentless winter, a communal moment of shared pleasure. These fleeting, affordable luxuries sold from steaming carts and glowing braziers are weaving themselves into the very fabric of the season. They are the taste of Christmas, a newly forming tradition born right here in the vibrant, biting cold of the Victorian street, transforming the practical necessity of warmth into a shared, cherished ritual. It's a testament to how even in the coldest, busiest of times, the simplest of pleasures can bind a community, creating a shared sense of joy, one warm bite, one sweet sip at a time. You hear it first, a soft, persistent hiss that underscores the gentle murmur of conversation. It's the sound of the gaslight, isn't it? A steady, almost living breath from the ornate fixture on the wall. A faint, almost imperceptible metallic tang, a whisper of unburnt gas, mingles with the richer sense of pine and festive baking, creating a unique, somewhat fragile atmosphere. You turn your head, drawn by the sound, and watch the small yellow flame dance behind its frosted glass, a tiny, vibrant sun struggling against the encroaching darkness. The light it casts isn't like anything you know from today. It's a living, breathing warmth, not the stark, unwavering brilliance of electric bulbs. It pulses, shifts, and flickers with a captivating irregularity, painting the room in soft, sepia tones. Shadows stretch and recede with every subtle variation, transforming familiar corners into transient, mysterious alcoves. You notice how the intricate patterns on the wallpaper seem to move, becoming almost animated just at the edge of your vision. Across the room, a child clutches a newly unwrapped book. Its pages are pristine white under the dancing yellow glow. The illustrations, hand-tinted and vibrant, seem to shimmer, their colors deepening and softening as the light plays across them. You see the child's rapt expression, their face illuminated in fleeting highlights and deep, soft shadows, making their features appear almost painterly. The gaslight lends an immediate depth, an almost dreamlike quality to everything it touches. You watch as a gust of wind rattles the panes outside, and the gas jet responds, dipping and surging, causing the shadows to leap wildly, momentarily swallowing parts of the room. It's a thrilling, almost theatrical effect, isn't it? This unreliable, dramatic illumination. A garland of holly draped over a mantelpiece suddenly glitters with an unexpected intensity as the light catches its berries, then fades into muted green in the next flicker. This isn't just illumination, it's an active participant in the scene, weaving itself into the very fabric of the evening. It forces a certain intimacy, this gaslight. You find yourself leaning closer, focusing more intensely, both on the faces around you and the small details that emerge from the gloom. The world feels more hushed, more concentrated under its flickering spell. You realize that without this particular quality of light, this constant dance of brightness and shadow, the very essence of a Victorian Christmas would be profoundly different. It imbues everything with a sense of wonder, a touch of the mysterious, transforming the ordinary into something truly magical. It's a light that asks you to engage, to look deeper, to let your imagination fill in the edges of the festive shadows. You're still bathed in the gaslight's warm, unstable glow, but now you're feeling its deeper impact. This isn't just illumination, it's a dramatic transformation of the night. The persistent hiss, no longer just a sound, feels like the very breath of this new artificial day, stretching beyond the sun's natural limits. The faint gas smell in the air now carries with it a subtle tension, a reminder of the power and perhaps the inherent risk of harnessing such volatile energy. The festive parlor, once a place of flickering firelight and deep, comfortable shadows, is now vibrant, almost hyperreal under the gaslight. The reds of the holly berries seem to bleed into the air, the greens of the pine appear richer. You see faces around you no longer simply outlined but fully revealed in their expressions of joy, their laughter amplified by the newfound brightness. Children play games that would have been impossible in the deeper gloom of candlelit evenings, their movements quick and unhindered. The hours stretch longer, don't they? The night, once a barrier, is now merely a canvas for extended celebration, for reading, for socializing. But then your gaze drifts past the immediate circle of light towards the windows and the world beyond. The gaslight from inside, spilling out onto the street, illuminates patches of the damp, cobbled lane in stark, almost theatrical relief. You see the glint of moisture on the stone, the outline of a distant figure hurrying past, briefly caught in the spill of light before being swallowed by the impenetrable gloom. This light, while banishing some shadows, also creates asterisk others, deeper and more defined, making the darkness outside feel all the more profound and menacing. You catch a glimpse of your own reflection in the windowpane, a ghostly, translucent image superimposed over the shadowy street. It's a jarring moment, isn't it, to see yourself lit by this modern marvel and then to feel the weight of the vast, unlit world pressing in just beyond the glass. This artificial brilliance, while extending the day, also starkly delineates the boundaries of safety and vulnerability. It draws attention, it exposes. The laughter within the room, once a comforting sound, now feels almost defiant against the silent, watchful darkness. This constant hiss and glow is the new normal. It allows for grander celebrations, for families to spend more time together, for holiday cheer to become more visible, more public. But it also creates a new kind of awareness of what lies just beyond the illuminated circle, of the perils that might thrive in the intensified shadows. It's a testament to human invention, isn't it? This brilliant yet subtly unsettling light, forever changing how we perceive and celebrate the festive night, bringing both unbounded joy and a newfound awareness of the darkness it seeks to conquer. You feel the heavy, cool ceramic of the bowl beneath your fingers, the sheer weight of it a promise of rich things to come. Your arm, a little stiff, begins the slow, rhythmic churn through the dense, sticky mixture. The air around you is thick, almost cloying with the intoxicating scent of dark, plump fruits, raisins, currants, sultanas, mingling with the sharp, warm bite of cinnamon, nutmeg, and something deeper, more potent. It's the unmistakable, heady aroma of brandy, isn't it? A fiery essence that seems to permeate the very fabric of the room, suggesting both decadence and tradition. You stir, feeling the resistance of the thick batter against the wooden spoon, a satisfying, almost primal effort. A fine sheen of sweat breaks on your brow despite the kitchen's underlying chill. The raw mixture, dark and glistening, slowly gives way under your persistent motion, swirling into an even, glossy mass. This isn't just cooking. It's a ceremonial act passed down through generations. Then your fingers brush against something cold, small and metallic amidst the sticky sweetness. It's the sixpence, of course. You pause, carefully guiding it deeper into the mixture, ensuring it's well hidden, a small silver secret waiting to be discovered. Its presence, a tangible piece of luck, seems to charge the air with a quiet anticipation. You think of the hopeful smiles, the playful shouts when it's eventually found. Around you, others gather, taking their turn with the spoon. A child, too small to reach properly, is carefully lifted, their tiny hand placed over yours on the wooden handle, their face alight with a serious, focused joy as they contribute their small stir. An older woman, her eyes twinkling, offers a hushed wish as she passes the bowl, a silent prayer for prosperity or good health, imbuing the pudding with her hopes. There's a palpable sense of shared purpose, of tradition being actively woven into the very fibers of the mixture. Each turn of the spoon, each swirl of the dark batter, feels like a collective act of goodwill, stirring not just ingredients, but wishes, hopes, and familial bonds into a potent, festive concoction. The rich, deep color of the pudding mixture, the potent scent of the brandy, the secret weight of the coin, they all combine to form something far greater than mere sustenance. It's a physical manifestation of connection, isn't it? A tangible symbol of the enduring belief in good fortune, in the simple, shared magic that can be found in the warmth of a kitchen, brought forth by willing hands, and infused with the deepest hopes for the coming year. You feel the dense, almost formidable weight of the Christmas pudding on your tongue, a truly heavy, satisfying presence. It's not merely sweet, it's a complex tapestry of flavors that unfurls slowly, deliberately. The initial burst is a rich, dark sweetness, a deep, molasses-like sugar that coats your mouth. Then comes the warm, almost aggressive assault of spices, cloves and cinnamon, sharp nutmeg, and a whisper of something exotic, perhaps cardamom, that dances on the back of your throat. Each chew releases another layer, the plump, brandy-soaked currants and raisins bursting with a potent alcoholic kick that warms you from the inside out, spreading a delightful, fiery glow through your chest, a direct contrast to the lingering dampness of the winter air. This is a pudding of profound richness, isn't it? Its texture is dense, almost crumbly, a testament to its long, slow cooking, its deep, dark color hinting at weeks, perhaps months of careful maturation. You taste the eggs, the butter, the suet, ingredients that speak of an undeniable abundance, of a celebratory feast born of prosperity. This isn't a delicate dessert, it's a declaration, a bold statement of Victorian comfort and indulgence. You sense the sheer scale of the ingredients required, the effort involved in its creation, and the celebratory importance placed upon it. As you savor each rich, potent mouthful, you can almost taste the distant lands from which these ingredients traveled. The sharp, bright zest of citrus peel, the fragrant spices, the dark, sun-dried fruits, they carry echoes of far-flung markets, of ships sailing treacherous seas, of bustling ports and colonial enterprises. It's a literal taste of empire, isn't it? A culinary manifestation of Britain's global reach, each bite a small, sweet testament to trade routes and distant harvests. The sweetness of the sugar, once a scarce luxury, now feels like a deliberate, almost defiant celebration of accessibility, even if for some it remains a rare treat. You glance around the table, seeing faces flushed with warmth and wine, smiles broadened by the potent, festive dessert. There's a general murmur of contentment, a satisfied groan here and there. A child, perhaps one who has just found the silver sixpence in their slice, beams with a mixture of delight and awe, clutching the tiny coin like a precious jewel, a promise of luck in the coming year. Their tiny hands, usually eager for simpler sweets, now hold something much more significant, something imbued with deeper meaning. But even in this moment of communal joy, of shared richness, there's a subtle contrast you can't ignore. This heavy, almost overwhelmingly opulent pudding, a symbol of domestic bliss and generous feasting, stands against the backdrop of the industrial city outside. It's a feast born from vast networks of commerce and labor, both local and global. This is a Christmas pudding that tastes not only of fruit and spice, but also subtly of power and acquisition, of an era that built its comforts on a wide, interconnected, and often unequal world. It's a culinary contradiction, a sweet and savory emblem of the contradictions that define the Victorian age itself. Immense wealth and grinding poverty, innovation and tradition, global ambition and domestic warmth, all brought together in a single, deeply symbolic dish. You feel the weight of history in every heavy, delicious bite. You feel the damp, clinging tendrils of fog coil around your face, seeping into your lungs with each cold, shallow breath. The air tastes distinctly of wet brick, distant soot, and a faint, almost acrid hint of horse manure, a familiar cocktail of urban grime. Every sound is muffled, distorted, swallowed almost instantly by the oppressive grey blanket that presses down on this narrow alleyway. The very ground beneath your worn boots feels treacherously slick with an unseen film of ice, threatening to betray your footing with every cautious step. It's a world pared back to its grimmest essentials, a stark, unyielding landscape designed to remind you of winter's relentless, unforgiving grip on the city. Then a sound, so faint it might almost be a trick of the cold, damp air, begins to filter through the pervasive gloom. It's a thin, reedy thread of human voices, fragile yet remarkably persistent, weaving a simple, instantly recognizable melody. A Christmas carol, it cuts through the heavy, almost suffocating silence, a poignant, almost ethereal offering in this bleak, uninviting space. Your head tilts instinctively, trying to pinpoint its exact source, the unexpected beauty momentarily overriding the biting chill that seeks to claim your senses. You find yourself drawn almost against your will towards the sound. You move forward cautiously, your steps hushed by the thick, muffling fog. Soon, indistinct shapes begin to coalesce from the milky haze. You see them. A small cluster of figures huddled tightly together by a grimy brick wall, their forms blurred and softened at the edges by the persistent mist. They are carol singers, perhaps a family or a few neighbors, their faces barely visible in the faint, diffused glow emanating from a distant gas lamp at the alley's mouth. Their breath plumes in the frigid air, tiny ephemeral clouds accompanying each shared note, each desperate puff of warmth. Their clothes are simple, thick woolen garments, perhaps a little too worn, a little too threadbare to truly keep out the relentless cold, yet their voices rise surprisingly clear and strong, ringing with an earnest, heartfelt quality that somehow transcends their apparent circumstances. Their song is simple, unembellished, a familiar tune of peace and goodwill, yet it carries a profound emotional weight. You feel the notes resonate not just in your ears but deep within your chest, a quiet ache, a stirring of something long forgotten, a raw sense of shared humanity. There's no grand performance here, no polished theatrics, just the raw, vulnerable act of communal singing, a defiant flicker of warmth and hope offered freely into the indifferent vastness of the urban night. You watch as a few passers-by, equally bundled against the cold, slow their hurried steps, their usual urgency momentarily faltering. Some reach into their pockets, the metallic clink of a few dropped coins sounding sharp and distinct against the softened backdrop of the fog. You catch a quiet nod of gratitude from one of the singers, a slight dip of the head, a flicker of genuine appreciation in their tired, hopeful eyes. You stand there for a moment longer, allowing the simple harmony to wash over you, a momentary balm against the pervasive cold and the city's ceaseless drone. This fragile sound, born of collective human spirit and simple faith, feels like a tiny, insistent rebellion against the crushing gloom, a stark, beautiful contrast to the hard reality of the frozen alley. It's a powerful reminder, isn't it, of the enduring strength of music, of shared ritual to carve out unexpected pockets of hope, to kindle warmth in the coldest, darkest corners of the world. It's a testament to the fact that even when the world feels overwhelmingly bleak, a small shared melody can remind you of the unbreakable human capacity for light, for connection, even in the most desolate of urban spaces. The last lingering notes of the carol still hang in the cold, damp air, a fragile echo in the narrow alley. You feel the persistent chill biting at your ears, making them ache, yet the warmth of the melody seems to settle somewhere deep in your chest, a strange, comforting presence against the pervasive gloom. But as the singing fades, a different kind of observation sharpens your focus. You watch the carolers, their faces, though still imbued with the recent glow of song, now reveal more. You notice the subtle signs. A boy shivering, his thin coat pulled tight. A woman's hands, red and chapped, clutching a worn shawl. The quiet, almost imperceptible shift in their posture as the song ends, a readiness, a subtle expectation. There's a distinct feeling, isn't there, that this moment, this offering of song, is not purely for the joy of it, but carries a deeper, unspoken plea. The metallic clink of a coin dropped into a small, outstretched cap sounds unexpectedly loud in the quiet that follows the melody. You see the immediate, almost involuntary dip of a head, a flicker of genuine gratitude in tired eyes, but also a carefully maintained dignity. It's a complex exchange, this. Not quite charity, not quite payment, but something that hovers delicately between the two. The brief eye contact between giver and receiver is loaded with unspoken understandings. The acknowledgement of effort, of need, of a fleeting moment of connection. You observe another passerby, perhaps a wealthy merchant, his broadcloth coat thick and unyielding against the cold. He pauses, listening, a faint, almost wistful expression on his face. He doesn't offer money immediately. Instead, he simply stands, absorbing the fragile beauty of the song, his gaze distant. When he finally reaches into his pocket, his hand seems to linger for a moment, weighing the coin, as if contemplating the true value of the moment, the art, the human vulnerability, the spirit of the season. This intersection of festive joy and stark reality is palpable. The carolers offer a gift of sound, of tradition, weaving magic into the grimy streets. In return, they receive not just gratitude, but sustenance, a tangible means to navigate the harshness of a Victorian winter. It makes you consider, doesn't it, how many of our cherished Christmas traditions are born from this very tension, the desire to celebrate, to give, to connect, intertwined with the ever-present realities of need and provision. It's a beautiful, complicated dance, a testament to how even the purest expressions of holiday spirit often walk an ambiguous line, revealing the profound humanity in both the giver and the receiver, in both the performance and the plea. You feel it, don't you? That familiar, insistent pinch at your waist, a subtle but constant pressure from the whalebone stays that form the very foundation of your silhouette. It's tight, almost painfully so, restricting the natural rise and fall of your ribs with each breath you take. You draw in air in shallow, measured sips, the fabric of your chemise and corset pressing in, a second skin of constraint. Then comes the rustle, a deep, persistent whisper that accompanies your every movement. It's the sound of layers upon layers, the starched petticoats, the stiff crinoline, the luxurious silk of your gown, all rubbing and shifting against each other with a dry, almost papery sound. The air around you is thick with the faint scent of starched linen, a lingering whisper of lavender sachet, and the subtle, cloying sweetness of your own perfume, trapped within the elaborate confines of your Christmas finery. You try to move, to turn, but the wide skirt, supported by its rigid cage, makes any natural gesture feel deliberate, almost architectural. You have to learn to glide, to pivot, to negotiate doorways and crowded rooms with a new, almost performative grace. It's a delicate dance, isn't it? This balance between outward elegance and inward physical struggle. Your shoulders, held rigid and high by the tightly fitted bodice, begin to ache with a dull, familiar throb. You feel the heavy weight of the elaborate sleeves, perhaps adorned with velvet bands and lace cuffs, pulling slightly on your arms. Every step, every small adjustment is a conscious act, a negotiation with the complex structure you inhabit. You catch a glimpse of yourself in a polished mirror as you pass, and the transformation is striking. The rich, deep color of your gown, a luxurious emerald green or a deep claret, gleams under the gaslight. The delicate lace on your collar and cuffs, painstakingly stitched, frames your face, softening its edges. Outwardly, you embody the very picture of Victorian elegance, a vision of refined grace. But beneath the polished surface, you are acutely aware of the constant pressure, the slight itch of embroidered threads against your skin, the subtle rustle that announces your presence before you even speak. You observe others in their similar elaborate costumes. A young lady across the room, perhaps a debutante, carefully lowers herself onto a settee, her wide skirts ballooning out around her, a momentary struggle to find comfort, to appear effortless. An older gentleman, his waistcoat stiff with brocade, stands with an almost exaggerated uprightness, his neck held firm by a high collar. There's a shared understanding in their subtle, almost imperceptible adjustments, in the fleeting glances exchanged, a silent acknowledgement of the beautiful, yet undeniably restrictive, uniforms they all wear. This finery, designed to signify status and celebration, is a magnificent cage, isn't it? It demands a certain posture, a particular way of moving, a constant awareness of one's physical self. It's a powerful symbol of the Victorian age itself, a time of immense outward display of meticulous social codes where appearance often dictated reality. You realize that to truly participate in the grandeur of a Victorian Christmas, to move within these festive, glittering circles requires a commitment, a sacrifice of ease for the sake of presentation. This isn't just clothing. It's a statement, a performance, a deliberate choice to adorn oneself in the very fabric of the era's aspirations, accepting the pinch and rustle as the price of belonging to this gilded, dazzling world. You feel that relentless, unyielding pressure around your waist, the very core of your posture, a constant physical presence beneath the layers of silk and lace. It's not just a tightness. It's a disciplined shaping, an enforced elegance that dictates every slight movement, every shallow breath. The whalebone stays dig in, familiar yet always a stark reminder of the ideal you're striving to embody. Your lungs feel slightly compressed, unable to fully expand, making you inhale with a refined, almost delicate control. A subtle, persistent ache begins to radiate across your shoulders and back, a testament to the rigid, upright posture that is not merely preferred, but demanded by the very construction of your attire. You find yourself standing, perhaps in a grand drawing room, under the unwavering gaze of family and guests, or maybe even the silent, unblinking eye of a camera lens. The air is warm, heavy with the scent of pine, beeswax, and perhaps the faint metallic tang of ozone from the photographer's flash, if such a marvel is present. You feel your muscles tense, striving to hold that perfect, serene expression, the slight, polite smile that softens the enforced rigidity of your stance. Every tiny tremor, every natural impulse to shift your weight or stretch a cramped limb must be suppressed. You glance at the others around you, similarly encased in their festive armor. A woman, her elaborate gown rustling softly, carefully arranges her hands on her lap, her fingers artfully posed. A gentleman, his collar high and starched, holds his chin at a precise angle, his gaze fixed, unwavering. There's a quiet, almost unspoken agreement, isn't there? A collective understanding of the physical toll required to project this flawless image of Victorian prosperity and refinement. Their faces may be serene, their poses elegant, but you sense the shared internal battle, the subtle tension in their eyes, the controlled breathing. This moment, this tableau of festive perfection, is a living portrait. It's a deliberate artifice, painstakingly constructed. The elaborate gowns, the stiff corsets, the meticulously styled hair, every element serves to create an idealized vision, one that transcends the discomfort of the moment. You feel the heavy brooch at your throat, its cold metal a small, anchoring weight against the warmth of your skin. The delicate lace cuffs, so beautiful to behold, feel almost restrictive around your wrists. The silence, broken only by the murmur of conversation or the soft rustle of silk, becomes a stage. You realize that to be truly Victorian, especially at Christmas, isn't just about the outward display of wealth or the embrace of new traditions. It's about a profound commitment to an asterisk ideal, an ideal of beauty, of propriety, of domestic harmony. And that ideal, you now understand, comes at a very real, very physical cost. You are quite literally breathing in the expectations of an entire era, holding your body to a standard that often belies comfort. Yet in this shared struggle, there's a strange collective triumph. The enduring human capacity to endure, to perform, to create beauty and meaning, even when it pinches, even when it aches, for the sake of a perfect, lasting image. The sharp, biting cold outside abruptly gives way to a wall of dense, humid steam that hits you with surprising force. It fogs your spectacles instantly, clinging to your eyelashes, making the cavernous space inside blur. Then comes the smell, rich and deep. Not the spices of a parlor, but the earthy, comforting aroma of slow-cooked vegetables, cheap meat, and honest broth, thick enough to taste the desperation and the succor in the very air. You step into the echoing hall, the flagstone floor slick underfoot, a thin film of condensation clinging to the high walls. The air is thick, not just with steam, but with the quiet murmur of dozens of voices, the shuffle of worn boots, and the occasional clank of metal. Your eyes, once they adjust, discern a long, snaking queue of figures bundled in threadbare coats and shawls, their faces gaunt, etched with the cold and the weary patience of waiting. They hug themselves, stamping their feet in a futile attempt to fend off the penetrating dampness that clings to everything. At the head of the line, towering over a colossal cast-iron cauldron, a volunteer, their sleeves rolled up, dips a hefty ladle into the bubbling, greyish liquid. Steam billows upwards, momentarily obscuring their face, carrying the potent scent directly to you. The rhythmic asterisk clunk of the ladle against the pot's side is a small, steady heartbeat in the hushed room. You feel a strange mix of profound relief and quiet discomfort as you shuffle forward, your stomach rumbling with a raw, undeniable ache. When it's your turn, the warmth from the overflowing, chipped enamel bowl presses into your chilled hands, a direct, immediate comfort that radiates up your arms. The surface of the soup shimmers, tiny flecks of carrot and potato bobbing gently. You don't taste grandeur, you taste necessity, a bland warmth that fills the empty space within you, dispelling the gnawing cold. You see others, hunched over their bowls, not talking, just consuming, absorbing the heat, the sustenance, the momentary reprieve. Their eyes, though still distant, hold a fleeting spark, a quiet victory in their hunger. It's a powerful testament to the simple, raw human need for warmth, for food, for a moment of quiet dignity. In this Christmas season, amidst the glittering wealth and cozy homes, this place hums with a different kind of magic, the magic of survival, of simple kindness, a stark, necessary counterpoint to the season's celebrated opulence. It's a reminder that even the smallest act of providing comfort can be the most profound. You feel the rough, damp fabric of your coat press against your back as you shuffle forward, inch by laborious inch, in the long, snaking queue. The steam, thick and oily, clings to your face, making the air feel strangely heavy, but it's the cold seeping up from the flagstones that truly penetrates. Then you reach the front, and your gaze lifts to meet the eyes of the volunteer, their face flushed from the heat of the colossal cauldron, their crisp white apron a stark contrast to the grime and wear of your own clothes. There's a brief, silent moment, isn't there? A fleeting acknowledgement across an invisible chasm as their hands, surprisingly soft yet capable, dip the heavy ladle deep into the bubbling, greyish liquid. The ladle lifts, brimming, and the warmth of the broth, thick and earthy, pours into your waiting, chipped enamel bowl with a precise, almost ceremonial grace. You feel the instant, almost aggressive heat radiating up your chilled hands, a raw, immediate comfort that pushes back the biting dampness. Their eyes, perhaps a shade of blue you rarely see, hold a complex mixture, a hint of pity, yes, but also a quiet sense of duty, a calculated kindness. You offer a small, almost imperceptible nod, a gesture of quiet gratitude that holds dignity despite the circumstances. No words are exchanged, none are needed. The act itself speaks volumes, bridging a gap that usually feels impassable. You move away, finding a small space at one of the long communal tables. Around you, dozens of figures, hunched over their bowls, consume the soup in hushed reverence. The clatter of spoons against earthenware is the dominant sound, a low, rhythmic murmur that underscores the profound stillness. You see a small boy, perhaps no older than your own son might have been, his thin fingers wrapped around his bowl, his eyes wide and vacant, fixed on the surface of the soup, as if it holds the entire world's truth. Another volunteer, a younger woman, moves slowly among the tables, a gentle hand briefly touching a child's shoulder, a gesture that carries a fleeting spark of warmth, of shared humanity. Her embroidered cuffs, peeking from beneath her sleeves, gleam softly under the dim gaslight, a vivid reminder of the two worlds coexisting here. It's a powerful testament, this scene, not just to the raw human need for sustenance, but to the intricate, often uncomfortable dance of charity itself. This single meal offered and received momentarily dissolves the harsh lines of social class, creating a fragile, fleeting bridge. But you also sense the temporary nature of it all, this brief, almost ceremonial pause in the relentless struggle. It's a stark, beautiful snapshot of a Victorian Christmas, where even the grandest gestures of goodwill often carried the subtle weight of social expectation, and where a calculated kindness could, for a precious moment, warm a freezing soul and remind you of the enduring, complex threads that bind humanity, even across the widest of chasms. You're not just arriving at the station, you're assaulted by it. The air hits you first, a thick, suffocating cloud of coal smoke, acrid and metallic, mixed with the damp, biting chill of winter. It catches in your throat, making your eyes water almost instantly. Then comes the sound, a colossal, roaring symphony that vibrates through your very bones. The piercing, almost violent hiss of steam escaping from unseen valves, the deep guttural rumble of iron wheels on metal tracks, and a constant, bewildering clamor of human voices, shouts, hurried commands, muffled goodbyes, all battling for supremacy under the vast, echoing iron and glass canopy. You feel yourself jostled, pushed forward by an insistent, anonymous force. A heavy bag, perhaps a trunk, thuds against your leg, making you stumble. The platform beneath your feet trembles with a low, continuous vibration, a living pulse from the gargantuan machines that dominate the space. Your fingers, already stiff with cold, involuntarily clench around the strap of your own modest luggage, a desperate anchor in this surging human tide. The smell of burning oil, damp wool, and something vaguely festive, perhaps a waft of gingerbread or mulled wine from a distant concession, momentarily breaks through the industrial gloom, only to be swallowed again by the pervasive smoke. Your eyes dart frantically, trying to make sense of the chaos. The platforms are a living, breathing mass of humanity, a sea of overcoats, hats, and scarves. Porters, their uniforms smeared with soot, weave impossible paths through the throng, balancing towering stacks of luggage with astonishing dexterity. You see faces, fleeting glimpses of worry, exhilaration, and sheer exhaustion, illuminated starkly by the flickering gas lamps hanging high above. A mother, her face pale, clutches a child to her side, her gaze scanning the distant tracks with an almost desperate intensity. A young man, barely more than a boy, waves frantically from a carriage window, his breath a dramatic cloud in the frigid air, trying to catch the eye of a departing loved one. Suddenly a piercing whistle slices through the din, a sharp, almost painful shriek that makes your ears ring. A colossal engine, a gleaming beast of black iron, slowly pulls away, its enormous wheels grinding, a rhythmic asterisk clack 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 asterisk growing fainter as it disappears into the swirling, foggy distance. A fresh cloud of steam and smoke billows across the platform, momentarily enveloping you, its hot, damp embrace quickly giving way to the biting cold once more. The air tastes of grit and iron. This isn't merely a place of transit. It's a crucible of emotion, a powerful nexus of longing and anticipation, a monument to the relentless forward march of the Victorian age. The iron horse, with its fiery breath and immense power, is not just transporting people. It's weaving the very fabric of modern connection, shortening distances, allowing families to gather in unprecedented numbers for Christmas. It makes you realize the sheer scale of human endeavor, doesn't it? To overcome such vast distances, to conquer the cold, all for the profound, simple human need to be together, to share in the magic of the season, even if it means braving this glorious, terrifying symphony of industry. The rhythmic, almost violent asterisk clack 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 of the wheels against the unforgiving iron joints of the tracks isn't just a sound. It's a relentless, vibrating drill boring into the very core of your skull. You're seated on a hard, unyielding wooden bench, the constant tremor from the colossal engine shuddering through your entire body, making your teeth ache and your vision subtly blur at the edges. The air in the cramped compartment is thick, a noxious, almost suffocating cocktail of hot steam, clinging coal dust that seems to permeate every fiber of your clothing, and the damp, slightly stale scent of a dozen tightly packed, anxious bodies. You taste grit on your tongue, a fine, metallic powder that seems to coat not just the carriage, but your very breath, a constant, unpleasant reminder of the industrial beast you're riding. Your head is pressed against the cold, condensation-streaked windowpane, but the world outside is a dizzying, indistinct blur of motion. Fence posts flash past in an impossible, dizzying rush, appearing and vanishing in the space of a heartbeat. Trees become dark, elongated smudges, their individual branches lost to the sheer velocity. Distant buildings, once solid landmarks, appear and vanish in a blink, like fleeting ghosts in the landscape. It's an almost violent assault on your senses, this sheer, exhilarating yet profoundly disorienting speed. You feel your stomach clench with each sudden, jarring jolt, each sway of the carriage as it hurtles around an unseen bend, a constant threat to your equilibrium. A sharp, piercing whistle slices through the din, a raw, almost painful shriek that makes your ears ring, a phantom echo lingering long after the sound has faded into the general roar. Across the narrow aisle opposite your own uncomfortable perch, a young woman, her face pale beneath the grime of travel, clutches a small child tightly to her chest. Her eyes, wide with a mixture of apprehension and a kind of fearful wonder, are fixed on the blurring landscape. The child, mesmerized by the relentless movement, occasionally points a tiny, soot-smudged finger, tracing unseen, frantic patterns against the dirty glass, their small mouth forming silent, unanswerable questions. Their faces, just like your own, are smeared with faint smudges of soot, a shared badge of this modern, exhilarating, yet undeniably harsh pilgrimage. Further down the carriage, an older gentleman, his top hat slightly askew despite the cramped conditions, attempts to read a well-worn newspaper, but his gaze keeps flicking up, betraying either his profound unease or perhaps his grudging fascination with the relentless, unceasing motion. His hands, gnarled with age, grip the edges of the paper with a surprising white-knuckled intensity. The constant rumble and shuddering vibration is not just background noise. It's a physical challenge demanding a quiet, almost meditative endurance. You instinctively brace yourself with every shift, every sudden surge of power that throws you forward, your muscles tensing against the unpredictable, untamed forces of the iron horse. This isn't travel for comfort, not in the gentle, swaying sense of a horse-drawn carriage. It's a raw, undeniable testament to progress, a powerful, almost brutal harnessing of raw industrial energy that compresses vast distances, bringing once remote relatives and loved ones within reach for the first time in generations. The sheer, overwhelming noise and movement, the physical discomfort, all coalesce into a kind of exhilarating chaos, a whirlwind of modernity. It makes you realize just how profoundly the world is shrinking, doesn't it? These roaring metal beasts, once unimaginable nightmares, are now forging new connections, turning weeks of arduous, isolating travel into mere hours of collective, jarring motion. It's a marvel, yes, a testament to human ingenuity and relentless ambition. The heavy wooden door clangs shut behind you, the sound echoing with a hollow finality that seems to swallow any lingering hint of the outside world. Here, the air doesn't carry the festive sense of pine or baking. It's thick with the damp, cloying smell of boiled cabbage, stale disinfectant, and the faint, pervasive odor of unwashed humanity. It clings to your clothes, seeps into your lungs, a cold, unyielding presence that chills you to the bone. You feel the bare, polished floorboards beneath your thin, worn boots, radiating an almost aggressive coldness that creeps up your legs. The silence is the most striking thing. It's not a peaceful quiet, but a vast, heavy, institutional silence, broken only by the distant, rhythmic ticking of an unseen clock and the rustle of straw beneath thin mattresses. Your eyes, accustomed to gaslight, struggle to adjust to the dim, grudging illumination from a single, high-set window, casting long, skeletal shadows across the rows of iron beds. Each bed is occupied by a huddled form, a mound of thin grey blankets, each one a stark, individual island in a sea of shared solitude. Then it comes. A sudden, raw, chest-wrenching cough breaks the oppressive stillness. It's not just a cough, it's an explosion of sound that rattles through the dormitory, echoing off the high, bare walls, carrying with it the unmistakable sound of struggle, of pain, of suppressed sorrow. The sound seems to hang in the frigid air for an unbearable moment, then slowly dissipates, swallowed by the renewed heavy silence. You instinctively flinch, your shoulders tensing, your own throat tightening in a sympathetic spasm. You glance towards the source of the sound, a shadowy figure stirring beneath a threadbare blanket. They turn, their face a pale, indistinct blur in the gloom, and then they settle again, a quiet, almost imperceptible sigh escaping them. No one else stirs, no one offers comfort. The shared ordeal seems to demand a silent, stoic acceptance. The cold, once merely physical, now feels like an emotional weight, pressing down on everyone, isolating each soul in their own quiet suffering. You become acutely aware of the hard, thin mattress beneath you, the rough wool of the institutional blanket, offering little true warmth against the pervasive chill. Outside, you know the city hums with Christmas preparations, with family gatherings, with festive lights and the distant, muffled sound of carols. But here in this silent dormitory, Christmas is merely another cold, long night, another day of quiet endurance. The only magic is the resilience of the human spirit, the quiet, almost defiant ability to simply exist, to breathe, to face another dawn in the face of such profound, unyielding bleakness. This silence, broken by a single cough, speaks more loudly than any carol. The air here, it's not just cold. It's thin, almost devoid of scent, save for the persistent, metallic tang of institutional soap and the faint, underlying odor of stale damp. You feel the grit of the rough, grey uniform fabric against your skin, a chafing, unyielding presence that offers little comfort. The hard, unyielding boards of the communal table press into your forearms as you sit, the emptiness in your stomach a dull, aching throb that outlasts any fleeting sensation of warmth. There's no crackle of a fire, no distant carol, no sweet, cloying whisper of spices. Christmas in this place is a ghost, an idea that struggles to exist. You look across the bare, scrubbed table at the other faces. They're a mosaic of age and exhaustion, all etched with the same quiet, almost resigned endurance. Eyes once perhaps bright with festive anticipation now hold a distant, flat gaze fixed on the empty space before them, or perhaps on the watery gruel that will soon arrive. There are no excited whispers, no surreptitious glances towards a hidden treat. The only sounds are the scrape of boots on the stone floor, the hollow echo of a cough, and the relentless, slow tick of a large wall clock. Each tick feels like a profound, painful measure of time passing, time without asterisk Christmas. You take a deep, measured breath, trying to summon warmth from within, but the cold is too pervasive, too absolute. It seeps into your bones, a constant reminder of the outside world's indifferent festivities. You might hear, carried on a gust of wind through an ill-fitting window, the faintest, most distant echo of a church bell or a snatch of laughter, but it's swiftly swallowed by the stark, unyielding reality of these walls. This absence, this void where joy and indulgence should be, isn't empty, it's filled with a strange, unyielding strength. It's the strength of simply carrying on, isn't it? Of finding a quiet resolve not in what is given, but in the sheer, unadorned act of enduring. This isn't about glittering decorations or lavish feasts. It's about the raw, elemental truth of human resilience, honed in the harshest of conditions. Here, hope isn't a brightly wrapped gift. It's the simple, defiant act of drawing another breath, of meeting another dawn. It's a profound, almost terrifying clarity that emerges when everything else is stripped away, leaving only the unvarnished spirit, finding dignity not in celebration, but in the quiet, unwavering refusal to break. You feel it immediately, don't you? The rough, unpolished grain of the wood beneath your fingers. It's not smooth, not perfect. There's a slight, almost imperceptible unevenness, a tiny, fibrous splinter that nudges your thumb, a testament to its raw origins. This is no factory-made marvel. The air, though still carrying the faintest whispers of Christmas pine and roasted chestnuts, now holds a drier, earthier note, the scent of freshly worked timber, perhaps a lingering wisp of turpentine. You turn the small object over in your hand. It might be a simple bird, a miniature horse, or a perfectly imperfect little box. The knife marks are visible, aren't they? The subtle ridges and hollows where the blade bit into the wood, shaping it with patience and care. It's not entirely symmetrical, one wing perhaps a fraction wider than the other, one leg a touch shorter. These are not flaws, though. They are the fingerprints of its creation, silent stories of the hand that held the tool, the eye that guided the blade. You press your thumb into a hollow, feeling the slight indentation, imagining the painstaking hours spent, the quiet concentration in a humble workshop, or perhaps by a dim firelight. You can almost feel the calloused hand of the maker, the focused brow, the subtle size of effort that went into coaxing this shape from a simple block of wood. This isn't just an item. It's a direct conduit to another's devotion, a tangible piece of their time and skill offered freely. You look across the room, perhaps at a child clutching a similar, simply carved toy, their small fingers tracing its rough edges with an unadulterated wonder that bypasses any notion of perfection. The child's eyes don't see the splinters, they see the horse, the bird, the story it holds. They don't value it for its polish, but for its presence, its unique, tactile reality. In a world increasingly enchanted by the gleam of mass-produced novelties, this simple, hand-carved gift feels profoundly different. It's a quiet rebellion against the smooth, the flawless, the commercially perfect. It reminds you that true affection isn't always about glittering perfection or grand gestures. Often, it's found in the rough edges, the visible effort, the subtle imperfections that speak of genuine, painstaking care. It's a testament to the enduring power of human touch, making a simple piece of wood a rich, irreplaceable vessel of connection and love, a lasting echo of the hand that made it. You still feel the familiar, slightly rough texture of the hand-carved gift nestled in your palm, the subtle, unique ridges where the craftsman's knife shaped the wood. It's a tangible, almost living thing, isn't it? Its earthy scent, a mix of seasoned timber and perhaps the lingering faintest hint of linseed oil, is subtle, honest. This isn't the gleaming, painted perfection of a new factory-made doll, or the cold, precise mechanics of a clockwork toy. No, this object carries the unmistakable mark of human effort, the silent story of its creation embedded in every imperfect curve. You trace a small, intentional groove with your thumb, feeling the faint, deliberate unevenness. In this era, the workshops hum with machines churning out toys by the dozen, smooth, uniform, flawless in their identical replication. You can almost hear the rhythmic asterisk clank 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 of the presses, the whir of the lathes, the impersonal precision of industry. Those toys with their bright, unblemished surfaces offer a different kind of pleasure, a fleeting dazzle. But this little carved piece with its slight asymmetry, its visible tool marks, whispers of something else entirely. It feels warm to the touch, as if it has absorbed the very warmth of the hands that brought it into being. You watch as a child, perhaps your own, holds a similar, simply carved animal, their small fingers repeatedly running over its unpolished surface. Their eyes, wide with concentration, don't seek perfection. They find personality in its quirks, a connection in its unique form. They press it against their cheek, a gesture of profound affection. It's not just a toy. It's a tiny piece of story, a tangible link to the person who spent hours whittling away, imbuing it with purpose and unspoken care. Around you, the festive season is awash with the gleam of new manufactured goods bought from bustling markets and grand emporiums. The desire for these shiny, pristine novelties is a powerful, almost irresistible current flowing through society. Yet this simple wooden carving offers a quiet, profound resistance to that tide. It speaks of a different kind of value, one not measured in cost or flawless finish, but in the immeasurable currency of time, dedication, and affection. This object, with its humble origins and its visible imperfections, possesses a soul, doesn't it? It reminds you that true connection often lies not in the extravagance of a gift, but in the heart, the hands, and the deliberate thought poured into its making. It's a poignant counterpoint to the rush of commercialism, a quiet, insistent declaration that some things, some gestures retain their deepest magic precisely because they bear the unmistakable, irreplaceable imprint of a human soul. This small, splintered piece of wood holds more than mere form. It holds a silent, enduring testament to love, a reminder that genuine warmth isn't manufactured but carefully crafted, one loving gesture at a time. You smell it the moment you step into the room, a strange, almost intoxicating blend of sharp, resinous pine and the sweet, cloying scent of burning beeswax. It's a new aroma, isn't it? One that wasn't here just a few short years ago. Your eyes are immediately drawn to the majestic fir tree standing proudly in the corner, its dark green branches laden with a shimmering constellation of small, flickering candles. Each tiny flame dances precariously on a delicate branch, their golden light casting a magical yet deeply unsettling glow across the room. You feel the subtle warmth radiating from the nearest candles, a gentle heat that prickles your skin, contrasting with the cool air that still lingers from the open doorway. The sheer novelty of it is captivating. You hear a faint, almost imperceptible hiss as a drop of molten wax falls onto a needle, quickly extinguished but leaving a faint, sharp scent of singed evergreen. Your gaze traces the delicate, gilded ornaments hanging from the branches, shimmering with a borrowed light, but your attention keeps returning to those dozens of tiny, untamed fires. Children, their faces alight with unadulterated wonder, are gathered in a hushed circle around the tree. Their eyes, wide and sparkling, reflect the dancing flames, but you notice how their parents keep a watchful, almost wary distance, a hand occasionally hovering, ready to intervene. A father, his brow slightly furrowed with a mixture of pride and apprehension, carefully adjusts a leaning candle, his fingers moving with a deliberate slowness that betrays the inherent risk. There's a palpable tension, isn't there? This exquisite beauty, this mesmerizing light, all held in such a fragile combustible balance. The crackle of the flames is soft, almost gentle, yet it carries an underlying note of danger, a whisper of what could be. This German tradition, brought over by the royal family, is taking hold, spreading like wildfire across the nation, quite literally. It's a powerful new symbol of Christmas, a beacon of festive joy, yet its magic is undeniably precarious. You realize that to embrace this new spectacle, this Queen's new jewel, is to embrace a certain delightful, terrifying risk, adding a thrilling, dangerous edge to the burgeoning magic of the season. You run your hand over the rough, dark bark of the tree trunk, the sensation surprisingly earthy and solid in the midst of the polished parlor. The air is so thick with pine now, isn't it? Not just a hint, but a deep, encompassing aroma of resin and forest, a wild, untamed scent brought directly into the heart of the home. Your gaze travels upwards, following the myriad branches, each one a testament to its outdoor life now transformed, festooned with shimmering baubles and delicate, twinkling lights. This isn't just a decoration, it's a captured piece of the wilderness brought inside, domesticated, and then elevated into something sacred. You feel the slight prickle of the needles as you adjust a small hand-painted bird ornament, its glossy surface cool against your fingertips. The contrast is striking, the raw organic life of the fir, its sturdy branches still hinting at wind and weather, now adorned with fragile manufactured beauty. The tree, once a humble part of a vast forest, stands proudly, almost defiantly, claiming its space in this opulent room. It dominates the corner, its deep green a vibrant anchor amidst the rich velvet and polished mahogany, a silent, fragrant sentinel overseeing the festive proceedings. You watch as family members with an almost reverent quietness circle the tree. A young girl, her eyes wide with a mixture of awe and solemn purpose, carefully hangs a tiny, intricate glass snowflake. Her movements are slow, deliberate, as if she understands the profound importance of her task, her small hand reaching out with a quiet sense of ceremony. A father perhaps steps back, head tilted, evaluating the placement of each ornament, ensuring balance, creating a deliberate aesthetic. This isn't just haphazard decoration, it's a careful communal act of transformation, turning a wild thing into a symbol of domestic magic. The soft murmur of conversation, the crackle of the nearby fire, all seem to revolve around this central green pillar. The tree, with its pungent scent and shimmering adornments, acts as a magnet, drawing everyone into its orbit, creating a shared sense of wonder. You notice how people gently touch its branches, a fleeting connection to something natural and grounding in a rapidly industrializing world. It's a remarkable shift, isn't it? To take something so fundamentally wild, something from the untamed outdoors, and bring it inside to meticulously tame and beautify it. This ritual, this act of bringing a tree into the parlor, is more than just custom, it's a profound declaration. It's a human attempt to control nature, to bring its beauty and resilience under a domestic roof, to infuse the cold, dark days of winter with a vibrant, living presence. This forest in the parlor isn't merely an aesthetic choice. It's the very heart of a new household ritual, a silent testament to the enduring human need to create comfort, beauty, and magic, even from the simplest elements of the natural world, forever changing the meaning of Christmas within the home. You feel it before you see it, a humid, suffocating curtain of scalding steam that smacks you in the face, instantly fogging your vision and clinging to your lungs. It's a hot, wet embrace, a stark contrast to the biting cold that usually permeates the servants' quarters. The air is thick with the caustic, sharp scent of strong soap, the metallic tang of hot water, and a faint, acrid undertone of stove polish. Beneath your worn, damp shoes, the flagstone floor is slick, radiating a persistent, earthy cold that battles the overwhelming heat from the huge copper boilers. You grasp a piece of silver, perhaps a heavy serving dish, its surface still dull from yesterday's feast. Your hands, already chafed and raw from endless tasks, instinctively begin the familiar rhythmic scrub. The coarse, scratchy cloth, barely damp, works the harsh polish into the intricate patterns. A faint, grating asterisk SHHSHHSHHSHH fills the immediate space, the insistent sound of metal meeting fabric growing louder, more frantic as you lean into the effort. Your muscles ache, a deep, weary throb in your forearms, a constant reminder of the physical cost of invisible perfection. The steam, relentless, coats everything, blurring the faces of the other figures hunched over their own tasks. You see a young scullery maid, her face flushed and glistening with sweat, her hair escaping in damp tendrils from beneath her cap, tirelessly scrubbing a mountain of crockery. Her breath plumes in the hot air, a small, weary sigh. Your own breath comes in shallow, measured bursts, fighting the tightness in your chest. You catch a glimpse of your reflection in the polished surface of a newly gleaming tray, a tired, streaked face, a smudge of polish near your jawline, a faint sheen of sweat on your brow. From somewhere above, faint and muffled by thick floorboards, you catch the distant, lilting strains of a piano, a burst of merry laughter, the clink of crystal glasses. It's the sound of asterisk their Christmas, isn't it? A world of warmth, light and effortless celebration that you are tirelessly, thanklessly building below stairs. The contrast is sharp, almost painful. Your hands continue their rhythmic motion, polishing, scrubbing, until the silver reflects the flickering gaslight with a blinding, dazzling brilliance, a perfect mirror to a world you can only serve. You feel a strange, paradoxical satisfaction as the dull metal gives way, becoming impossibly bright, pristine. This intense physical labor, this endless polishing, is your part of the festive magic. You are the invisible gears, the unseen hands, ensuring the illusion of effortless joy above remains perfectly intact. It's a Christmas built on meticulous, grinding effort, a relentless dance of steam and polish, a silent testament to the unseen dedication that truly brings the season to life, even if your own festive cheer remains a distant echo. The rhythmic asterisk clink 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 asterisk of silver being stacked, now perfectly polished, against the rough wooden shelf, is a testament to hours of unseen effort. You feel a dull ache in your lower back, a persistent throb that has become a constant companion. The scalding steam from the scullery has receded, leaving a chill in the air, a damp cold that settles on your skin, reminding you of the early hour long before dawn. Your hands, raw and reddened, still carry the faint, sharp scent of metal polish and strong soap, a permanent, almost invisible mark of your endless labor. You reach for the heavy iron coal scuttle. Its rough, cold surface bites at your fingertips. The asterisk scrape thud of coal being shoveled from the bunker into the scuttle is a muffled, monotonous sound in the cavernous, quiet kitchen. You listen for any sign from above stairs, but there's only the profound silence of a house truly asleep, a silence that speaks of deep, untroubled rest. For them, Christmas Day has truly arrived, bringing with it a lull, a suspension of the usual demands. For you, it means merely a shift in the nature of the work, not its cessation. You carefully carry the heavy scuttle, feeling the strain in your arms, the muscles taut. As you pass the cold, dark hearths of the grand reception rooms, you envision the roaring fires that will soon fill them, banishing the pervasive chill for the family's joyous awakening. You picture the elaborate breakfast, the rich, aromatic coffee, the warm toast, the crisp linen, all of it emerging from the precise, coordinated efforts that have been underway for hours, while the rest of the world slumbered. There's a curious paradox, isn't there? The very essence of their day of rest is meticulously constructed upon your unrelenting labor. Each polished spoon, each freshly laid fire, each quiet preparation is an invisible cog in the engine of their festive ease. You see a flicker of gaslight from the passage as another servant, perhaps the footman,